spot in Rentop's 2021 Singles Index. And now here's sports.
From the KGSO Sports Desk, I'm Mason Voth. This update brought to you by Clearwater Liquor. Get your beer, wine, and spirits at Clearwater Liquor. Yesterday, just ahead of the College Football Conference Championship weekend, the College Football Playoff Committee came out with their final regular season top 25. Georgia stayed at number 1, Michigan up to 2, Alabama and Cincinnati remain at 3 and 4, with Oklahoma State at number 5 on the outside looking in. Baylor dropped 1 spot, Oklahoma dropped 4.
Having trouble finding a new car this holiday season? Can't wrap your mind around paying massive markups? At Midwest Kia, during the Kia Command the Season sales event, you won't have to worry about being left with a lump of coal. Grab your holiday spirit and head to Midwest Kia to put your name on one of over 200 new 2022 Kias that will be here in time for Christmas. And Midwest Kia has the better way to buy with the inventory to match. Never priced above sticker, all with the best stocking stuffer in town. Kia's amazing 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Plus, we want to get you approved, even when the other guys have said no. With as little as $600 cash or trade, you could get your credit back on track and get into a brand new Kia today. For the best car buying experience in town, visit Midwest Kia or MidwestKia.com, and you'll see why people are singing,
"We want to see ya in a Midwest Kia."
On select models with approved credits, warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See dealer for details.
Jaden Randall here from Collision Works. I've been doing body shop work right here in Wichita for a long time, and with 8 Wichita area locations, Collision Works is here for you. Accidents happen, and when they do, let Collision Works make it right again. With 8 locations, we'll get you in and out as quickly as possible. Free rental car assistance is available, and we'll coordinate with your insurance company from start to finish. We're here 24/7 when you need us.
For accidents, hail, or a fallen tree, Collision Works is all you need.
Market information from the Mid-America Ag Network. I'm Andy Hooser, wrapping up today on a Wednesday, looking at your cash grain reports for the states of Kansas and Oklahoma. Not a bad day. Wheat slipped a little bit, but corn, milo, and soybeans were up a little bit compared to at least what they saw the day prior, so that's good news. Starting off with your co-op in Goodland, Kansas, we saw ending prices for wheat today, $7.69, corn at $5.92, milo at $5.82, and soybeans at $11.53. In Belleville, Kansas, ending price for wheat today, $7.86, $5.52 in the corn, $5.77 in the milo, and $11.63 in the soybeans. Over in Beloit, Kansas, wheat today was at $7.86, $5.62 in the corn, $5.77 in the milo, and $11.63 again in the soybeans. And in Concordia, Kansas, $7.96 was the price of wheat today, $5.62 in the corn, $5.87 in the milo, and $11.73 in the soybeans. Over in your Sumner County terminal, wheat today was at $7.99, $5.67 in the corn, $5.97 in the milo, and $11.78 in the soybeans. In Fredonia, Kansas, wheat today $7.72, corn at $5.46, milo at $5.54, and the beans at $11.87. And the western part of the state of Garden City, Kansas, wheat today was at $7.99, corn at $5.97, $5.77 in the milo, and $11.45 in the soybeans. Down in Oklahoma, we'll start off with Perry, Oklahoma today. Wheat today at $7.82, corn at $5.59, milo $5.72, and the beans at $11.73. And the panhandle of Hooker, Oklahoma, we had wheat today $8.14, $6.21 in the corn, $5.81 in the milo, and $11.04 in the soybeans. So looking at averages and pulling out that calculator, we saw an average of wheat today at $7.89. That is down a penny from yesterday. Corn with an average of $5.73, up 7 cents from yesterday. Milo at $5.78 for an average, that's up 10, and soybeans with an average of $11.59. That's 7 cents higher for an average than yesterday. Market information, Mid-America Ag Network.
Your local weather on KQAM, brought to you by Jewelry Savers. Conveniently located off K96 on Greenwich Road. The Kansas trusted jewelry source since 1971. Jewelry Savers.
Sunny and warmer this afternoon. High temperatures climbing into the low 70s on this first day of December. Wind turning to the west at about 5 to 10. Tonight remaining fairly mild with a low near 40 degrees under a clear sky. For your day on Thursday, tons of sun and shooting for records with highs in the upper 70s. With your forecast, I'm meteorologist Frank Waugh.
That's your latest Cake First Alert weather update on the Big Talker, KQAM.
At 4:06, it's currently 66 degrees.
fighting for freedom every day.
They are absolutely desperate to pretend the last 4 years never happened and for them to go back to what they like to do before, which is create these massive spending bills to pretend that it's really, really important to you when you only get about 5% of what's in the bill, and they can't do it because we're aware of it. We're paying attention to it, and they don't like that.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Well, it's finally happened. I mean, it wasn't going to take long. We knew it wasn't going to take long, but even with the travel bans that were racist under Donald Trump that are not racist anymore because Joe Biden didn't send a mean tweet before doing the travel ban, so therefore they're not racist, although Donald Trump did the exact same travel bans and were racist. It's official. The first one happened. The first Omicron variant case has been confirmed here in the United States. Now, here's the funny part. It didn't happen in a free, open state like Kansas, where I'm at, or a free, open state like Texas, or a free, open state like Florida. It happened in California. The very first case. Now, again, everybody needs to panic because that's just what we do when we get a new variant, because there's no other variants of any other disease. These are the only variants that are out there is COVID variants, and we all need to panic now. So get ready. Get ready. We all need to panic, lock everything down again. Now, they have been quarantined, everybody. The contact tracing, remember that term? We haven't heard that in a while. The contact tracing has been complete. They've seen everybody that's been exposed to the potential Omicron virus, and they're quarantining as well. It was an individual who, again, lives in California in one of the most stringent COVID-19 protocol states. I know. And here's the other kicker. They were completely, fully vaccinated against COVID-19. Now, I'm telling you, because of that, you need to go out and get vaccinated right now, or we're all going to die, because the fully vaccinated person is the first confirmed case of the Omicron variant of COVID-19 in the U.S., in the state of California, that has the most stringent protocol for COVID-19 restrictions. Welcome into the show. Great to have you today for a, what is it today? Wednesday, the midweek celebration here on the show, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas, on our flagship radio station. All over the country, though. Multiple stations on radio, TV, live streaming, and podcasting. Your millennial general reporting for duty like we do every single day. We got one heck of a show lined up for you. Chris Nelson, he is with Reopen South Florida. He'll be joining us at the bottom of the hour to talk about what's going on in the Florida battle against COVID-19. And he's been fighting that battle since the very beginning. Here in just a minute or so, we have our interview with Congressman Bob Latta. We sat down with him just a couple days ago going into the Thanksgiving break to talk about the latest out of Washington, D.C. So I want to play that interview. And like usual, we went about 20, 25 minutes in the interview. Can't play it all here on the show. So we're going to have our additional special feature podcast episode where you can hear the entire thing, because what he has is some really, really great content. You're not going to want to miss it. So we'll have that additional upload with the entire interview. But this is us sitting down with Congressman Bob Latta from the 5th Congressional District of the state of Ohio, talking about the latest out of Washington, D.C., and this is what he had to say right here on The Voice of Reason. Congressman, how are you, sir?
Great. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to you. I appreciate it. I'm glad that you're back in your district. There's a lot that's been going on in Washington, D.C., so I'm glad to be able to talk with you now, especially going into the holidays, because people kind of tune out a little bit during a holiday season. Really, between now and Christmas, they're going to be in a holiday mode. But you guys are working on a lot of frustrating things. Obviously, you guys passed the reconciliation bill, that Build Back Better plan, out of the House. It's sitting in the Senate right now. What was the debate looking like on the House floor during that discussion? Because you guys obviously were in the minority, but it doesn't sound like it's going to be a very good bill.
It's a horrible bill. And you have to remember, this piece of legislation is what President Biden, Nancy Pelosi all said the same thing. This isn't going to cost you a dime, not a penny. It's all paid for. And, you know, the Democrats, some of them were getting kind of scared, so they thought, well, we better get a score from the Congressional Budget Office, meaning what's this thing really going to cost? Well, in the way they also scored this thing, they did not go out the 10 years like they should have. They did it in a very short period of time. But even with that, the Congressional Budget Office is going to add $367 billion to the deficit over the next decade. But when you look at the actual numbers here, we're looking at about a $4.5 trillion bill with about a $1.5 trillion in new taxes and adding about $3 trillion to the debt.
Unbelievable. Good golly. What about tax increases on here? I mean, obviously, with that much kind of additional spending going out, we're going to have to find new revenue. What kind of tax increases are we looking at here?
Well, you're talking about, as I mentioned, the highest tax increases ever in history. And you also might remember it was President Biden saying, "Oh, don't worry, only the rich are going to pay for this if you make over $400,000 a year." And kind of the next day, you heard from the White House, and what the president meant to say was, if your family makes $400,000 combined a year, you're going to be paying. But what we're looking at is probably getting into the $50,000 range in a couple of years. That people are going to find that they're going to get hit with a tax increases. And that's on top of the massive inflationary numbers that we're seeing in over 31 years, the highest inflation that this president has brought down on the American people. And then what they also want to do is they're going to say, well, we're going to put $80 billion in this for the IRS, so hire 87,000 new agents so they can go snoop on all the Americans out there to see what you're buying and selling and doing whatever with your checking account, that they know what you're doing. And I mean, this is just absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, this takes financial tyranny to an entirely new level. Now, I know they've gotten rid of the part of the bill where they were going to monitor transactions of $600 or more coming out of the in or out of your account, digital transactions, cash transactions. That is gone, but they did replace it with something somewhat similar, didn't they?
Well, what they're talking about doing is they say, well, we don't want that $600 because everyone, what? Well, we want to make it for the rich people. It's at $10,000. Well, I was talking to one of my friends who's on the Financial Services Committee, and I said, what should we be telling the American people? He said, tell the American people this. It's an aggregate. So let's just say you're getting Social Security, and you get $800 and some a month, and add it up over the period of over a year, that hits $10,000. They can snoop.
Wow.
So this is what they're trying to get into law. And this is absolutely unbelievable, un-American. They took out the protections for the Hyde Amendment, meaning that taxpayer funding cannot be used for abortions. They're leaving that out. So, yes, you will be paying for abortions in this country, granting mass amnesty to millions of people that came here illegally. And also, it's taking out the work requirements for people that receive welfare benefits, able-bodied people.
Yeah.
And so, this is when we have almost 11 million job openings in this country, and what we're saying is, just stay home and we'll just keep paying you.
Yeah, we'll just keep taking care of you with these social programs that are being expanded, by the way, too, with this. I mean, aren't we seeing a massive expansion on Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid? I mean, the CHIP program. I mean, all of these programs, this is by far one of the biggest socialist takeover bills that we've seen in this country.
Well, it certainly is, because, even Joe Manchin, it's pretty interesting when Republicans in the House are rooting for a Democrat, and they're in the Senate. To hope this guy holds his line on this stuff, because when you look at the overall cost, because even Manchin said that we don't have the money to pay for the programs we already have, and so how do you add $4.5 trillion more into it? Creates 150 new government programs, and just keeps raising taxes on small businesses, as I mentioned, and giving tax breaks, believe it or not, to millionaires. Millionaires. So it's like, and at the same time, what we're going to do, we're going to increase our dependency on OPEC, Russia, and China for our domestic energy and rare earth minerals out there. I mean, when you look at this, it's just like, how un-American can a piece of legislation, and you should have seen the Democrats that morning on the floor, all just clapping and applauding and thinking what a great job they've done, but what have they wrought on the American people?
Well, they don't care. They got their money. They got their special interest paid for, and they're pretty content to go into the next election cycle on that one. We're talking with Congressman Bob Latta from the 5th District of Ohio. Speaking of energy and the oil, we saw the announcement just a couple days ago that President Biden was going to release 50 million barrels of oil into the system to try and lower those gas prices. Congressman, at least from what I've seen, we use anywhere between 18 to 20 million barrels a day, so he's relieving the market for a day and a half. I mean, I guess that's going to save the market from high prices, right?
Well, and again, this is all a ploy. This is, he has totally failed the American people on energy policy. when he killed the Keystone XL pipeline. That's 840,000 barrels that would come into this country every day from our good friends in Canada in a pipeline. That's how we have to get it. We have an 80,000 person shortage right now of truck drivers. And, then they turn around, he takes the sanctions off the Nord Stream 2, which is the Russian natural gas line coming into Europe. And the Europeans want to buy American gas, especially from Central and Eastern Europe. They don't want Russian because the Russians can cut them off. And then recently, we have what we call Line 5, which comes in from Canada through the Upper Peninsula of Michigan and then through Michigan down to Ohio and also into Ontario. It brings in 540,000 barrels of oil a day. The Democrat governor of Michigan wants to shut off Line 5, which would be over $5 billion in economic help out there that we get from this line. But and I sent a letter to the president, which I led, that the president were saying, look, you can't be doing this, and so they've backed off somewhat, siding with Michigan on this thing. But, going back to the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a reserve for an emergency, not because of ineptness that this government run by the president, or if you can't even say he's running it, has caused on us. It's because, again, that's supposed to be in the ground when we have a true national emergency. And this is just something that he's caused by killing all of these smaller companies out there that want to get out there and produce oil and natural gas.
Well, what's sad about it is that, we have the ability to lower gas prices ourselves. We were energy independent under the Trump administration. For the first time in years, we were our energy independence. We were able to drill. We were able to do our thing. Now, when we ask about it, they blow it off as if that's not even a possibility. Like, well, OPEC's not giving us any more oil. And, the other countries aren't shipping any more over to us, so we just have to deal with it, and we're going to relieve it by releasing these emergency funds, so to speak. Like, it doesn't even cross their minds that we could be doing this on our own and get back to the gas prices we saw just a year and a half ago.
Well, and again, we worked on it as Republicans. We had an all-above energy strategy that we started back in 2008. We weren't going to pick winners and losers out there. Everything from oil, natural gas, clean coal, nuclear, hydro, and then all the different types of alternatives out there. But we want to make sure that we keep this country moving, and we can't move if we don't have energy. And, we're coming into winter right now. We're going to see prices. And I just met with propane and natural gas companies around the region here in Ohio. And we're looking at probably a 54% increase in propane and 45% in natural gas, while we were seeing those prices going down under the Republicans. And but I tell you, we're under 350 days to the next election, and some people, are trying to wish their life away to get there. But we've got to stop this, and the American people have just got to tell this administration and the Democrats enough of it is enough. And we saw that happen in Virginia. What happened out over there was just a crushing defeat for the Democrats because they said all of their policies from the schools and what they're trying to do in the state. They said we've had.
That was Congressman Bob Latta from the 5th District of Ohio. Again, that interview went on for about another 10-15 minutes long. If you want the entire interview, make sure to go to the podcast. You can find it on any of your favorite podcasting sites with the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser, and you can listen to the extended length of that one. Lots more coming up on the show. I don't even know where to start today. We'll get to all when we come back. Stay here.
Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. Go check it out. Why?
because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station.
We're here for you.
Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the voice of reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network.
Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe to any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. For a schedule of upcoming guests on the program, daily show topics, or to reach out to the Hooser Media Network, visit us on the website at HooserReason.com. Or for general inquiries, to be a guest on the program, or to have Andy a guest on your program, email us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Keep fighting for freedom with us every day right here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Now, back to the show.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Welcome back into the program. Thanks for hanging out with us today on a midweek celebration. Radio, TV, live streaming, podcasting, 24 minutes past the hour. We have Chris Nelson, Reopen South Florida, coming up here in just a few minutes. We'll get back to the Omicron variant. It sounds almost like a video game, doesn't it? The Omicron. Or it sounds like a movie, maybe like the Terminator. It's the Omicron. The variant, we'll talk about that here in just a minute, trying to fight the COVID-19 battle like we do every single day. Did you see this? I don't know if you've seen this. Apparently coming up, is it tomorrow or is it next week? I don't know. On a Thursday, ABC on 60 Minutes is going to run with George Stephanopoulos, is going to be doing a sit-down one-on-one interview with Alec Baldwin after the shooting that happened on the set of Rust. And I was like, okay, whatever. They're sitting down with a one-on-one. He's trying to do his PR to try and save his career a little bit because, I mean, now again, I'm not trying to belittle Alec Baldwin in any way, shape, or form in this yet because I get it. It was a terrible situation. Obviously, it's affected him drastically. It should affect him drastically. I'm not trying to downplay that in any way, shape, or form, but is it genuine because he truly wants to talk about it and be open about it, or is it because he's trying to save his career? I'm curious on how this is going to play out, but I listened to the trailer, the little teaser video that they have running on ABC to promote the event, and he said something I find quite interesting.
I think the big question, and the one you must have asked yourself 1,000 times, how could this have happened? You've described it as a 1 in a trillion shot, and the gun was in your hand. How do you come to terms with that? It wasn't in the script for the trigger to be pulled.
Well, the trigger wasn't pulled. I didn't pull the trigger.
So you never pulled the trigger?
No. I would never point a gun at anyone and pull a trigger at them, never.
What did you think happened?
Did you catch that? It may just been me. Maybe my hearing's off a little bit. Did you just hear that? That I didn't pull the trigger. No trigger was pulled. The trigger wasn't pulled. I would never point a gun at somebody and pull the trigger. Now, in case you've been living under a rock and don't understand the situation, he was practicing pulling the gun out of the holster, looking at the camera, doing this thing, whatever, and the gun went off, and there was a live round in the gun because apparently they had been using it for live practice rounds earlier in the day. There was a live practice round in it. He didn't check it before he holstered it and used the prop, quote-unquote, firearm, and it went off and killed one of the crew people. And he knew them, knew the family apparently, and he got all sobby and talked about that. But it went off, and he killed somebody. Actually shot two people. One of them survived with a wound. One of them died. It's now going to court to figure out what's going on because negligence is the absolute least that should be happening here with him shooting somebody on the set because of negligence. We have seen numerous different actors come out and talk about gun safety that happens on these sets where they take gun training, they take gun safety courses, they understand exactly what's going on with the firearm, they make sure to check it before they actually practice with it, and they go about their day. But did you hear that? So it wasn't even, as George Stephanopoulos says, it wasn't even in the script for you to pull the trigger. No, I didn't pull the trigger. I never pulled the trigger. I would never point the gun at someone and pull the trigger. I'm more intrigued now to see what he has to say in the 60-minute interview because I'm not sure how a gun can go off unless the trigger is pulled. Now, was there some kind of crazy spur, I don't know, that it discharged on its own because there was enough pressure built up in the gun? Maybe. I don't know. I handle firearms on semi-rare occasions, and know that I've never seen that happen. I've never heard of it just discharged without it even being loaded before. It never even pulled the trigger. It just went off on its own. But now he's saying, no. I never pulled the trigger. I'm starting to lean more towards the fact that he's going to court and he's trying to build his defense case right now by saying, yeah, I used the firearm and yeah, maybe some negligence there, a little slap on the wrist and a fine, but I never actually pulled the trigger. It was a malfunction of the firearm without actually ever pulling the trigger. Any gun expert would say that's probably unlikely, but hey, I guess that's your salvage to try and stay out of jail, isn't it, Alec Baldwin? Again, not judging, just observing, but someone who's semi-familiar with guns in some way, shape, or form, I call malarkey on that one.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of The Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hooser Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HooserReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. The Hooser Media Network is way more than just the voice of reason. Your source to find numerous different online talk shows, podcasts, TV, and radio programs, all in one simple online location for you. From political talk to health talk to whatever you may be interested in, we're here for you. And I tell you, it's growing every day. Catch Tracy Maxfield with her podcast, Engage, Educate, and Empower, discussing mental health issues in children and teenagers. From bullying, teenage suicide, addiction, ADHD, and so much more, learn from Tracy and her guests about symptoms, signs, and ways to talk to your children, plus so much more. Having battled depression, being the author of the internationally acclaimed book Escaping the Rabbit Hole, and being a retired nurse, Tracy is kind of the go-to on the subject. Make sure to find her on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, along with her website at tracymaxfield.com. Also, make sure to tune into the weekly podcast Jump, Pivot, and Roll with Shannon Stiles and Rachel Murphy. Taking that next big leap of faith is hard. Trying to write a book, maybe struggling with a relationship, looking to take that next big career step. What's stopping you? There's a lot of big questions there, and they're questions that Rachel and Shannon want to help with you each and every week. It's Jump, Pivot, and Roll on any of your favorite podcasting sites and on Facebook and YouTube. All of these shows and a heck of a lot more can be found on the Hooser Media Network Facebook and YouTube channels. Make sure to follow and subscribe to check them out today. Follow all the shows, and if you have any inquiries, check us out at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason, and I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hooser Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network.
When Reason Meets Radio. You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
I'm still shaking my head over that comment from Alec Baldwin. I'm going to play this again just in case you didn't hear this, because apparently he didn't pull the trigger. This is coming up for an upcoming 60 Minutes episode with Alec Baldwin, a one-on-one with George Stephanopoulos. This was a bit of the trailer that they are releasing on ABC right now.
I think the big question, and the one you must have asked yourself 1,000 times, how could this have happened? You've described it as a 1 in a trillion shot. and the gun was in your hand. How do you come to terms with that? It wasn't in the script for the trigger to be pulled.
Well, the trigger wasn't pulled. I didn't pull the trigger.
So you never pulled the trigger?
No. I would never point a gun at anyone and pull a trigger at them, never.
What did you think happened?
Wait, what? Again? No. I've never pulled the trigger. I never pulled it. It wasn't in the script to pull the trigger. I never pulled the trigger. I would never point the gun at someone and pull the trigger. All right. Now we know. This is going to be... Apparently, we don't know how guns work here. And it just went off. Just went off all by itself. It pointed and it went off. This is the anti-gun movement trying to play dumb going into a case when they get busted for not knowing how to handle something that they're actually using and then trying to blame the object again. But again, I'm not making any judgments here. Could totally be wrong. Maybe it just discharged on its own. I don't know. Highly doubt it, though. Let's get into what's trending. What do you say?
What's trending today?
Super excited to have on the program with us now as we go back into our COVID battle, the ongoing COVID battle across the country. We've seen a lot of states try and finally stand up and say, ain't going to fly. Here in my state of Kansas, we did have a legislative session with our state government to pass, not really to fight the federal mandates, but just to reaffirm that businesses have to accept religious and medical exemptions. It's not as far as what I wanted it to go in any way, shape, or form, but at least it's a start. Other states just said, no, we're not going to do that in any way, shape, or form. States of Texas, states of Florida are all really leading that charge. And to talk about some of that and more, where is the battle and what do we do now that we have this really scary, like Terminator Omicron variant coming out into the country with our first confirmed case, not out of Florida where it's open, but out of California where they have some of the most rigorous lockdowns. I find that intriguing as well. He is the co-founder of Reopen South Florida. Chris Nelson's on the line with us here. Chris, how are you, brother?
Hey, how's it going, Andy? I'm doing great. It's great to talk to you. And yeah, I'm a lot more afraid of Alec Baldwin running around with a prop gun than I am of Omicron. I can tell you that. I mean, do we not live in a very strange world now? We live on shooting sprees and then say you didn't pull the trigger.
Yeah, apparently you just didn't pull the trigger. Chris, your phone's a little distorted there, just a heads up on that. But you're right. Apparently he didn't pull the trigger. He didn't pull it. It popped out of his holster and it shot somebody. And we have the variant. Now, here's the funny part with this Omicron variant. It came out, the first case in the U.S. is confirmed today by the CDC, came out of California by someone who was fully vaccinated. Because remember, we got to run out and get vaccinated or else you can't function in public and function in society. But someone who was completely vaccinated, doesn't have a whole lot of symptoms, but just evidence we need to go get vaccinated and just be very scared and lock things down again, right?
Well, Andy, can you hear me a little bit better?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I got you now.
Perfect. Phone away from me. I tend to yell a little bit or kind of be enthusiastic a little bit. So when I'm talking right into the phone, sometimes it sounds all distorted. But isn't this interesting, California? And I'm going back and forth in my head here between, is this just straight BS? Because I'm thinking just BS. They're making stuff up. I don't believe these variants. I don't even know how they exactly detect them or name them. It's very, very bizarre and very interesting at the time of year when all of our businesses are just about to make a lot of money. Because, the productive class is now in gear to make a lot of money for the month of December. And we know that the whole COVID thing has been nothing other than trying to destroy our livelihoods while enriching government, media, and pharmaceutical companies. Just a transfer of wealth right out of the hands of the productive business owners in America by shutting our businesses down, calling us murderers, saying we're the ones that are causing virus spreads. Churches, too. Oh, yeah, they're the places where all these people are dying, and then just ripping money out of the hands of them and then placing it into the hands of people in media, government, and pharmaceutical companies. So, I want to say this is straight BS, but then I'm looking at this going, these variants all showed up at the exact same time that this alleged vaccine was, widespread, given out. So it's like, what is it? I'm leaning towards BS, but could it be possible that it was the vaccinations that could have caused this thing? Now, this is just a theory, of course. But I'm leaning towards BS. I don't know about you, Andy.
Well, I'm right there with you. Now, I know in general terms, I am not a doctor. I'm not a specialist in any way, shape, or form, although we have had many specialists and doctors on the air, plus what we can do with our own individual research. I know that's a very triggering thing for some in certain communities, but
understanding the general way that viruses work is that when you have a vaccine come out against a virus, in order for it to stay alive and actually stay functional in a biological world, that it mutates, is so that way it can get around the variant. It's like a hacker. When you put up a firewall on a computer, a hacker will find a new way to access your computer because that's just the way the world turns. When you create a vaccine, you will create variants, and most viruses have tons of different variants because we create vaccines to stop them, so they create different variants and mutations in order to stay alive. Now, usually as well, when it becomes more transmissible and it becomes easier to catch, it also becomes less severe. So with this Omicron variant, where they're saying that you could be in different rooms of the same building because it's now airborne and it's so easily transmissible, to me, the first thing that pops into my mind is that, okay, it's going to be less severe. So while we need to, watch it, I don't need to worry about it. Delta variant's like a 0.08% death rate in the Delta variant. This Omicron variant's going to be about the same, if not less. So while we need to take precautions by like being healthy and doing our own personal health regimen, I'm not too terribly worried about this thing.
Well, nobody should be. And, I'm noticing down here, I live in South Florida, down here in Fort Lauderdale, and this is a very liberal, left-leaning enclave of Florida. The rest of Florida is very red, very conservative, except for the little areas in, Orlando, Tampa. But down here, they call it the sixth borough of New York. So you've got a lot of libs down here. You've got a lot of people like that. And you know what? I'm not seeing the fear the way I did before. Miami had Art Basel this week, and there was pressure to cancel that. And now they were the ones that would cancel everything. I mean, these are mainly New York liberal-type people that go to this thing. And, they said, no, we're not going to cancel it. So I think that's a sign of hope, seeing that even the libs aren't falling into this again. But really, I mean, this would just be a precautionary type news story. If you're to believe any of this, I have a very difficult time believing any of this. Because remember, it was last July, and they were like, the Delta variant, And they used that as a way to scare everybody. And but the discussion, which it should not even entail, are we going to have more freedom stripped away from us as a result of a little sneeze or a flu, if we're to believe that this thing is even real? Because I'm telling you, I'm leaning towards, I think this is BS, because look at who we're listening to. We're listening to the dog killer Fauci, who is a perpetual liar and psychopath. We're listening to the media, which we see is completely owned and operated by Pfizer. And then we're listening to politicians who are the biggest liars on earth. So we're listening to people that are known liars, that have a track record of lying.
Yeah.
Now, if I were to be lying to you, if I told you 3 straight lies, Andy, and then the 4th time I said, okay, now I'm going to tell you something else, what are you going to just believe me?
It's the boy who cried wolf. I mean, eventually people just don't believe anymore. The sad part is there are still some that just follow the words of like you mentioned, the politicians, the heads of the medical state. And it's concerning because when they say go and get the vaccine, they run out and get a vaccine. When they say go and get the 3rd booster, they go out and get the 3rd booster without any question, because I think we've forgotten our own personal health traits of what we can actually do. You guys, down there, you've been fighting this left and right, and God bless the state of Florida with DeSantis, because you guys are rocking it. I've been seeing the memes that DeSantis has saved Christmas because of bringing some of these ships in there to try and port them, to dock them, to unload them, to get them shipped out. What you guys are doing down there is huge, so I applaud you and everybody in Florida that's actually fighting this fight for doing that.
Well, thank you, Andy. And this is very interesting because we've been hearing this. Florida, and this is from the CDC. This is from the Clown Disease Center themselves, okay? Florida has the lowest COVID infection rates in the country. And you can go right now. I've posted this on my Telegram, Chris Nelson Uncensored. You can follow me at Chris Nelson Uncensored on Telegram. But I posted this. This chart, I ripped it straight from the CDC website yesterday. It shows COVID infection rates by county. It's color-coded. So you got the red is the scariest, then you've got like green and yellow, and then blue is the least amount. Florida, completely blue almost.
Wow.
The rest of the country, different colors. It's almost like it's almost supernatural in a way. You look at this, and I believe our governor walks Chris Nelson Uncensored. You can see Florida is completely the least amount of infection. Florida, the state that we were allegedly just out of control.
Yeah, you guys were the ones that were going to you were going to spread it around. You were going to kill everybody. You guys weren't doing any mandates. He was going after the public schools that wanted to mask up. I mean, they came after you guys hard. Chris, we got to take a hard break here. Can you stick over one more segment with us?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Hang tight here because you're right. Florida has gotten so much heat from the Biden administration, from the mainstream media, and yet you guys are leading the charge and actually seeing positive things. So, again, I give you guys kudos on that one. I did find it ironic, and we'll see if we can't find the audio for the next segment here, of Joe Biden trying to take a little jab at Ron DeSantis as well. Did it work? Not really, but I find it quite entertaining. It's Chris Nelson. It's Reopen South Florida. You can find them on the social media. We'll have that when we come back as well. It's the Voice of Reason for a midweek celebration. Stay right here.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station.
We're here for you.
Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the Voice of Reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Oh, hi. You know, conservative message ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. And I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hooser Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it.
First, become a Hoosier-holic by going to HoosierReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hoosier Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HoosierReason.com. Hey, I hope you're enjoying the program today. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite podcasting sites and have the show automatically downloaded to your phone or computer every single day. Just find us on any podcasting site or go to HoosierReason.podbean.com. And be sure to check out our Patreon site, become the ultimate Hoosier-holic, and help us fight for conservative values every day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Now back to the national broadcast of the Voice of Reason.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Oh, I really get frustrated only having a 1-hour program because we have so much to talk about. We have the Supreme Court that has blocked the vaccine mandates, the refusal of vaccine mandates for a hospital in Massachusetts for many of the nurses and doctors there. We also have the Supreme Court case ongoing right now out of Mississippi looking at abortion limits where they upheld that one. That's interesting. We'll try and get to all that and more tomorrow, so stay tuned in for the Voice of Reason. We have guests lined up really for the next 2 weeks. We are locked and loaded, baby. Lots of stuff we try to cram into. By far, trying to cram that 10 pounds of reason into that 5-pound bag, trying to rebrand the millennial generation, one radio listener at a time. Multiple radio stations, multiple TV stations, live streaming, podcasting. Thanks for joining us today. Last few minutes here on the show as we talk with Chris Nelson. He's with Reopen South Florida. You can find them. By the way, you can find their website, freeflorida.me. You can also see his Tweety at Reopen Chris. You can also see his Telegram, Chris Nelson Uncensored. So lots of places that you can find him and follow him as well. And Chris, now this Omicron variant coming, as you mentioned, kind of in an oddly timely manner, and it doesn't respond to the vaccine. We need to create a new vaccine that's going to take, they said, like 6 to 8 months. I heard from the government, I think, today and from the mainstream media. Are they trying to lock things down going into the holidays or shortly thereafter because that states and people are starting to push back a little bit from just going along like they have for the last year and a half?
Well, they certainly would if they could, Andy, and I appreciate the plugs for my socials. And I posted that COVID data tracker straight from the CDC website that shows Florida as being the lowest transmission in the country. You see, it's a completely different color. It's amazing. I put it under your post so you can see it. Now, I declare Florida has natural immunity to any new BS variants that the government may invent. Oh, and now they want to give us another vaccine. You know, I've been right, Andy. I don't mean to be, I'm not trying to be arrogant or anything, but I've been right about everything since this began because it's just simply knowing who we're up against, who we're dealing with, and what their ultimate goals are. And we said, if we get into this, they will never stop. Now, you ask, are they going to try to lock us down again? Oh, they certainly would if they could. They are doing everything they can to force their injections into us. But it's not just the fact that they can lock us down. What they do is they try to discourage business. Now, I work in an industry that, as many people do in Florida, that relies a lot on parties, events, tourism, on people being out doing things. And if they can scare people enough, that will then, they're hoping that will then affect the bottom line, which they almost literally destroyed and did destroy a lot of businesses in 2020. And then the little pieces of crap ran around acting like they saved lives and they were heroes or something. All the while, none of them missed a single damn paycheck. So I declare right now we are immune to any BS variants that they may come up with, and that their plans to try to destroy our Christmas, Fauci the Grinch can be gone with this man already. They're not going to destroy our Christmas. They're not going to destroy our businesses. We're not falling for this crap a third time. Maybe they can go back to trying the murder hornets again. Remember the murder hornets?
Yeah, the murder hornets. That's right. Well, it is funny how when they end up losing their agenda and they don't get everything they want to, go back to the same old arguments and the same old talking points. I mean, you saw that with the Donald Trump election, one after another, how he's the racist, he's the misogynist, he's the evil, yada, 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 whatever, the right-wing Nazi, whatever they tried to say. And you're right, now that we're starting to not be as scared any longer, they're now trying to bring it back to scare us all over again. And I just don't know that it's going to work. My problem is, and we got just about 45 seconds here to kind of wrap things up, is that they're not taking into consideration natural immunity to any of this. And it just blows my mind. We are winning, though, because obviously the OSHA mandates have been on hold in the courts. The federal contractors mandate is being on held in the court as well. So we are winning, and I want to leave some optimism here.
Absolutely. We are winning, and they don't take any common sense into account. And I just want to tell everybody, hold on, stay strong. And, the devil uses the same tricks over and over and over again because he's not creative, and that's all he's got. And it's almost like we're up against the devil here, isn't it? So trust in God. He will bring us through. And thank you so much for having me on. You can follow me on Telegram, Chris Nelson Uncensored. And let's just have a great Christmas, great Hanukkah, and live our lives.
Hey, amen to that. Chris Nelson Uncensored on Telegram. Reopen Chris on the Tweety if you want to find him there. Also the website at freeflorida.me. Chris, good to talk to you, my friend. Keep up the fight. We'll get you back on the show again soon.
Thanks, Andy.
Hey, always a pleasure right there. That does it for us. Lots of information there. Digest it. Think about it. Process it. We'll reconvene tomorrow and do it all over again with a lot new guests and a lot more content to bring to you. More craziness in the world. That's what we're all about, right? It's more entertainment than it is because it's just crazy how much they try to push the envelope. That does it for us. Podcast up in just a little bit. Until then, be your own voice of reason. Be your own activist. Change the community around you. It's time to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. This is The Voice of Reason. I'm Andy Hooser. We'll see you on the radio. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of The Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all